officer's body camera clicking on as he responds to what should be a routine call. Suddenly, there's the deafening roar of an engine, an unstoppable force barreling straight toward him. In the seconds that follow, his police cruiser is hit head-on by a massive piece of heavy machinery, throwing him into a life-or-death situation no one could have anticipated. But what comes next? It's a moment so shocking that it will leave you speechless. Before we get into this heart-pounding story, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more gripping, real-life tales. And don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss an update. You'll want to stick around for every detail of this unbelievable event. It's a story that starts in chaos but reveals much more than anyone expected. Day began like any other for Officer Mike Davis of the Key West Police Department. It was a calm afternoon, the kind where most officers expect to deal with minor incidents, speeding tickets, noise complaints, maybe even the occasional lost pet. But at around 3 p.m., a call came in that shattered the routine calm of the city. Reports were flooding in about a man at the College of the Florida Keys wreaking havoc. Witnesses described a large piece of construction equipment plowing through vehicles and smashing into part of a building. Panic ensued as cars were crushed and bystanders scrambled to safety. Within minutes, dispatchers sent out a citywide alert and Officer Davis was on his way to the scene. As he drove toward the college, Davis couldn't have known the scale of destruction waiting for him. The closer he got, the more frantic the radio chatter became. Multiple vehicles damaged. Suspect is still driving the loader, heading east. Dispatchers were struggling to keep up with the erratic movements of the machine. Davis gripped the wheel, his adrenaline already surging. The initial reports painted a picture of complete chaos, but no one could have prepared him for what he was about to face. When Davis turned the corner near the college, he spotted the massive loader in the distance. Even from far away, it was a terrifying sight. A 57-ton piece of machinery being driven with reckless abandon. It wasn't just a vehicle. It was a weapon capable of massive destruction. At first, Davis thought he might be able to block the loader's path with his cruiser, slowing it down until backup arrived. But the moment he positioned his vehicle, the loader's operator locked eyes with him. And then it happened. Without warning, the loader changed course, veering directly toward Davis's cruiser. In that split second, the officer had to decide: stay in the car or get out. The body camera footage captures the heart-stopping moment of impact. The sound of metal crunching, glass shattering, and the cruiser being pushed backward filled the air. Davis barely managed to escape the wreckage. His training kicked in as he leapt from the car, weapon drawn. The loader came to a temporary halt, its massive arms swinging menacingly as if taunting him. Davis shouted commands, his voice steady but urgent, demanding that the operator step out of the vehicle. The man behind the wheel was 22-year-old Ethan Lane. He didn't comply. Instead, he stayed inside, gripping the controls as if he was in a trance. Davis fired warning shots, aiming to disable the loader by targeting its tires, but the bullets didn't have the desired effect. Lane eventually climbed out, his hands trembling and his face streaked with tears. "I'm sorry," he sobbed, falling to his knees. Davis, still on high alert, shouted, "Sorry for what? You almost killed me." As backup officers arrived, they placed Lane in handcuffs and secured the scene, but the tension didn't end there. In the back of the police cruiser, Lane's emotional state deteriorated further. He screamed and cried, begging the officers to end his life. "I wanted to make them pay," he muttered incoherently. his words revealing a deep well of anger and despair. Lane's behavior left everyone puzzled. What could drive someone to such an extreme act of destruction? Who was he trying to target, and why? The investigation that followed uncovered fragments of a troubled young man's life. Lane had no prior criminal record, no known affiliations with dangerous groups, and no clear motive for his actions. His neighbors described him as quiet and unassuming, the kind of person you wouldn't expect to see in the headlines, but there were signs of underlying struggles. Lane had been unemployed for several months, and friends reported that he had become increasingly withdrawn. One neighbor mentioned hearing frequent arguments coming from his apartment in the weeks leading up to the incident. How Lane got his hands on the loader remains a mystery. The machine belonged to the college and was typically used for construction and maintenance work. Investigators believe he may have stolen it during a moment of opportunity, but the exact circumstances are still unclear. The damage caused by the rampage was staggering. At least 40 vehicles were crushed or severely damaged, and part of a college building was rendered unusable. Traffic lights, fire hydrants, and utility poles were also destroyed, leaving thousands of dollars in repairs. Miraculously, no one was seriously injured. A mother and child in a van that Lane struck suffered only minor injuries. It's a small miracle that the incident didn't result in a greater loss of life. In the days following his arrest, Lane remained a deeply troubled figure. During interviews, he alternated between moments of clarity and incoherence. He spoke about feeling threatened and wanting revenge, but never offered a clear explanation of who he was targeting or why. The community was left grappling with the aftermath of the incident. The destruction was a stark reminder of how quickly life can change. For Officer Davis, it was a near-death experience that he would never forget. You train for situations like this, but you never expect it to actually happen, he said in an interview. He now faces multiple charges, including the attempted murder of a police officer. His case highlights the importance of addressing mental health issues before they escalate into violence. For the residents of Key West, the memory of that day serves as a somber reminder of the fragility of peace. As we reflect on this incredible story, it's clear that it's about more than just destruction. It's a tale of resilience, quick thinking, and the unpredictable nature of human behavior. If this story moved you, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think drove Ethan Lane to such a breaking point? And as always, stay safe out there. We'll see you in the next video.